Very beautiful people, welcome back to another episode of Pages of My Diary. This is episode 11, and we are cruising on swiftly. We are doing okay. Please make sure to subscribe. A lot of you that are watching have not subscribed, so please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also like the video and share to as many people as possible. If you've not watched the previous video, please make sure to click the link so that you can get to listen about how to silence the noise surrounding us and even the noise inside us, or how I was able to quiet the noise around me. Yes, so today I want to talk about something different, really not to talk about, but to share an experience that maybe someone can learn from it. My own experience. I remember there's someone who once met me and asked me, do the stories I share in this platform, are they real or are they like literal? I'm a what, but this is a disclaimer that all the stories I share here are my own personal experiences. Si story nimesikia na mtu, si story nimepewa na mtu, ni zangu. So just know they're authentic. So I was thinking about instances that happen to us in public spaces that are really not talked about, or that are like zinafunikwa, like people don't want to talk about it because maybe it's shameful or maybe it's controversial and all that. And especially when it comes to matters, maybe sexual harassment in public spaces, it is something we don't really talk about, but it's something that is really increasing over time, especially in our country and in public vehicles or in public spaces, if I may say. We've seen so many of these videos being shared online, and sometimes we just overlook them, but it might be something that creates emotional damage or dents in people and we don't even know. So today I want to share such a similar experience that happened to me. Yes, when we are silent about such things, it's like we say it's okay, or it's like we're hiding those people who commit such things, and we are like, okay, maybe let's not embarrass them. But why would they do that to us? Because to us they create emotional damage. Yes, because even though you don't really think about it most of the times, it creates trauma in you. So enough of all that. So it was this particular day, I was coming from Nairobi to Nyeri, and I boarded a vehicle. It was late. I left Nairobi late, not that late, but around 6 p.m. So I got to a Matatu. So when it's that time and you want to get back to where you're going like faster, you're not really keen to where you're sitting. You know, when you come ukiwa kwanza, you have the luxury of picking a point or a spot to sit. So I didn't have that luxury, so I just sat where like there was space. So there were 2 spaces left, and it was zileni the 2-seater, like where you sit to a view. So I sat on the first seat that is close to the window, and then the other seat was empty, but it was the last seat in that vehicle. So someone came, and it was just a young gentleman who sat next to me, and I didn't even really think about it because I'm like, we're not going to talk or we're not going to interact, so I just need to go. Tunafaa tu tufike. That is what I want to mean. So I sat and I plugged in my earphones and I was just listening to music and watching TikTok videos and all that. So while we are at it, I think maybe 10 minutes from departure, he taps me and I look at him and I'm like, oh, yes. And he says, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, are you comfortable? I'm like, yeah. First of all, it was a weird question, but I was like, yes, I'm completely comfortable and okay. And I thought the story would end there because, okay, one thing about me, I don't really like interacting with strangers as much because I'm an introvert by nature. So small talks are not for me. So I thought that was it, and I just plugged back my earphones and we continued on the journey. And then I'm talking about less than 30 minutes into the journey, he taps me once again and ananiuliza, unaenda wapi, nini, you know, that all that talk. So I was like, okay, because it can't hurt anyone, let me just indulge in this conversation. So I tell him, yes, I'm going home. I'm going back to New County. That is where I work. He asked me what I do. I tell him blah blah blah. I don't really tell him in details, but I just like guzilia hapo juu. So we talk, and he tells me that he is traveling to Nyeri because he has an occasion on the next day. So he has to be there early, and he is spending the night in a friend's place because for him he stays in Nairobi. So he's spending a night in a friend's place, and he would just yani he's just going for that occasion. He says that, and I'm like, okay, that's really nice. And we continue and we continue. One thing about me, okay, currently I don't, but kitambo I used to really sleep. I don't want to call it ear sickness, like, but I used to sleep on transit because one, it is in the night at night, so there's nothing to look at, and the curfews really affect me. So I dozed off, and now that is where my trouble started. Well, I was asleep. I don't know how long I had slept, but in between my sleep, I felt like there are some hands. There's a hand moving through my jeans. I was in jeans, and it was not like completely ragged, but it had a part that is a bit ragged. So it's not like there are some threads, but see at his skin is showing. So I like wake up and I find that my passengers, my next seat neighbor, has his fingers through my jeans, and I'm like, so I push his hand away, and I'm like, why? What is happening? And he's like, no, I thought you'd be comfortable with it. I'm like, what about me would even give you the thought that I'd be comfortable with something like that? I go like, no. So he starts being apologetic and all that and all that. I'm like, fine. Because sasa what can I do? Sijafika. So I'm like, fine. Just tuishie hapo and usirudie. So we continue with the journey. At this point, I'm not even like asleep because how can you even fall asleep again after something like that? So now I am on my phone, looking through the window, all that, the things you do when you're traveling. And I feel the guy is really fidgeting, like he's not comfortable. He's moving, like he keeps on moving. And since I don't want to have conversation with him, I don't want to turn and see or maybe what is happening. So he keeps on moving and fidgeting and all this, and it's now becoming a disturbance to me. I turn around, I ask him, kwani kuna shida? He's like, apana, but currently, now he's talking in a whisper. So he's like, but currently, I am, like, I don't want to say, what will I say? Then he's like, I am on heat or something like that. So for me, it's weird. And I actually turn around to see if the people seated behind us are like listening to what this person is saying. But they are not, they're not even there because 99% of the vehicle is asleep. So I tell him, I think should I open the window for you? Then he's like, no, because you're the person who is making me uncomfortable. I tell him, can we ask someone to change seats with me so that, because I don't want to have this conversation with him. And he's like, no, I will be okay. I'm like, fine. I think I was tired, but in between I slept. The same thing happened. I felt his hands now really like where my trouser was torn, now it extended because of how much force he's putting his hands up in me. So this time round I shout. I'm like, you need to stop. So there are two men seated behind me. They're like, nini naendelea. I'm like, no, I'm just not comfortable. I would like someone to exchange seats with me. Then the guy is like, the passenger is like, no, hakuna shida, nini. Like by virtue of nature, the man will just side with him. And let me tell you, long story short, the journey was really uncomfortable. I had to sit through all this. There's a time he even wanted to push through my whatever I was wearing, my top, to get inside my top, and it was a lot. And when I alighted, because I alighted before him, and I had to even alight prior, like before nifike kwenye ninafika, so that I would take a motorcycle to home. So immediately I alighted the vehicle. I remember I just stood somewhere and I cried because I was like, why would that even happen? Like, that was the most random thing I thought would happen to me on transit. And I called someone and I talked about it, and they're like, okay, they tried to talk to me just to make me calm down. But over the time, I've thought about the incident, and I'm like, this was just a stranger. Like, I was a stranger to him, he was a stranger to me. Why would he do something like that? And how many women does he do such similar things to? And those women are just feel ashamed. And who should feel ashamed in this context? Is it me or is it him? But since we've not created spaces where we can openly talk about such things, and such things can be condemned, such things continue to happen. And there are so many, there are some parts I can't really talk on camera, but there are some things he did during that journey that really gets me confused. I'm like, why are you comfortable doing such a thing in public transport, if you know what I mean? So why am I sharing this story? I'm sharing this story to tell you that, you see, some things happen not because maybe you're immoral or you don't have principles or boundaries or anything, but some things happen because they just happen. Like, for me, I hadn't planned for all that. I mean, I was just transiting, but there are some precautions that I've taken so far. Like, for me, when I am taking a matatu, especially long journeys, I have to make sure I am seated in the single passenger seat, so that I know I am only alone. Like, I don't need to interact with my neighbor. We need to think about our daughters and our sisters and our mothers and all the women in our lives who might be going through such things, or even men. And we need to address sexual harassment when it comes to public vehicles or public spaces, either in supermarkets or in matatus or wherever. It needs to stop. And if you're a person out there who is doing such things, because actually that is perverted behavior, you need to stop. It's not okay. Like, not even though someone makes you, I mean, excited, I think there's a way of controlling yourself, or there's a way of approaching it that is not like that. So if you're out there and you're doing that, shame on you, and you need to stop, and stop it before we now start mentioning names and putting faces to the stories that we share. So if you're a lady out there and you've experienced such a thing, I want to first apologize for that, and to say sorry for not feeling comfortable in spaces where you're supposed to be comfortable. And I want to tell you that it is okay to speak out. You need to speak out when such things happen. You need to, if you can shout, shout. If you can scream, scream. Whatever you can be able to do to attract people's attention to whatever is happening, do it. Because we need to stop. And we need to stop being silent about sexual harassment and sexual assault. Yes, we need to speak out so that we can put those people to shame, and we can make them accountable of their deeds. And eventually, I think even our courts and the judicial system and our legal systems need to put things in place in line with maybe sexual harassment or assault in public spaces. That is it for today's video. Make sure you're subscribed and share and comment and like. And until the next video, always remember to stay true to yourself. Kwaheri.